5 minutes to record. But yeah, we can pretty much talk about anything. This is kind of just like an open discussion. Don't mind me. I'm just putting on some stem pads because my body's pretty jacked up right now.
What is it?
But,
like electric pads?
Yeah. But other than that, thank you for being on the show.
Dude, this is fun. It's been a while since we did this.
Yeah, we haven't done this in, I think it's been over a year.
It has, because I was just starting CrossFit when we did this.
Yeah. So, for everyone who does not know, this is my good friend Mike. Mike Hartel, thank you for being on the podcast. It's not really a official format, but more or less just being on the channel. So,
yeah. I mean, I was excited to come on.
Yeah.
I know that it's your show, but I gotta ask you how it's been doing the Open.
Oh,
is there a 23.3, right? We're already done that?
Yeah. So the 2023 CrossFit season was underway, and we just finished the third Open test.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, the CrossFit Open, there's a season where everyone competes on an international scale. There's a leaderboard, and then there's a couple more divisions moving forward, kind of like what you'd have like a regional for like high school sports, and then like what would be like the state championship kind of deal. But I'm not at that level yet, but we're in the progress and process of getting there. So that went really, really well. Saw a ton of improvements from last year, and we have the next round coming up in 2 weeks. So immediately we are in recovery mode, as it's been very intense and it's been very demanding on my body.
So what's your recovery? Because your recovery compared to where you are in CrossFit and my level of recovery are probably two different wavelengths.
They're a little different. I mean, look, recovery is recovery, right? Like you got to give your body the adequate amount of rest for as hard as you train. Like I always like the saying, I can't remember who said it, but it's always like you need to recover as hard as you train. Otherwise, if you're training too hard, well, your body's just eventually going to break, and that's where a lot of people like end up with some injuries and some unfortunate events. Yeah. And so like my normal protocol goes like this. So Sundays are my off days from training. Like I typically don't even like run or do anything in the gym. Mm-hmm. Everything's dedicated towards preparing for my week, whether it's my clothes, my food, and then I sleep. The most I sleep is on the weekends. So since the end of 2022 and all of 2023, I've been tracking my sleep. Yeah. And that's been a huge part of it. I think societally, we all take for granted how important sleep is. Mm-hmm. And, for me, I've been trying to get 7.5 hours a night. Haven't always been successful. Yeah. But that's like the main part of my recovery. Stuff like this with the stim pads, a lot of soft tissue work. Probably about 30 minutes to an hour a day. But when you're working out 2-3 hours, probably need a little bit more. Yeah. I also try to recover at work. Like I try not to be stagnant sitting at my desk. I'm more or less like in a split stance. I'll go for multiple walks. I'll make sure I'm getting up and getting water frequently. And just doing that sort of thing, man.
Yeah, that's something I do too, because the whole work from home thing, being in the office. I started doing that in 2023. I get up I want to say like once an hour at least, maybe two times an hour, and just kind of stretch the legs out from the office. I'll like walk around the hall, come back to my desk, and then if I'm at home, I do the same thing. I just walk like in the living room, I'll go upstairs, downstairs, gotta get the legs like juicing. Because I don't want to lose anything.
Well, okay, so I want your perspective on this, because, we're within the same age range. I'm turning 25 in like 2 weeks, and you're
26.
26?
Yeah.
I have never felt so unhealthily, I don't even know if that's a word, immobile. Because I sit at a desk for probably 4 days out of a given week. Yeah. And my lower back is tighter than it's ever been. I've had my knees tighten up. Like everything I feel less athletic, if that makes sense. But I'm training more than I ever have. And I guarantee you, a part of that is not really playing organized sports. And I think that's one of the faults of CrossFit. Mm-hmm. But how do you feel? Because like we both sit for the most part during our jobs.
Dude, it varies week by week. There are weeks where I'm like, I feel so like immobile, and I can't do anything. And then like I get to the gym for CrossFit, and I'm like, I think I need to like stretch longer than I should in my head. Mm-hmm. And then there are weeks where like it's right to my back. Yeah, and I've had lower back problems like my entire life. Yep. But I found that recently. Yeah, it's like a duplicity between that where 1 week it's one thing, 1 week it's the other, and then I get that random week where it's like both, and my knees and my back are just like, it's over. Like let's take
it's over.
It's over. You can't do anything. But I feel like the thing that helps me overcome that is like definitely working out and having that like session on Tuesdays with the fam. whether it just be I like to call them now the Imam Tuesdays. That really helps.
How many days a week are you training with the crew?
Yeah. 2. So we're doing Tuesday, Saturday.
Yeah.
And then I do like a lifting session, like a random day of the week. So it's usually Thursdays.
Yeah.
So I'll just be the guest for my friend at his Y.
So you go about 3 days a week.
Yeah.
No, I think that is the best, like, to get people out of how their bodies feel.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the best way is through exercise. But man, just like I wish I could just be a little bit more mobile throughout the day.
Yeah.
Like I'm not big into like the step counters, but I would be interested to see. I'm probably getting, I don't know. I think over 10,000 in a day, but definitely not like the 20,000 I was getting when I was in college. Because like I had when I was doing my marathon training, I had my watch, right?
Yeah.
Well, granted, because I was running, anywhere between 4 and 20 miles per session. Yeah, you're gonna get your steps in, but outside of that too, like I was hitting like 24 or 30,000 a day sometimes.
Did you walk in? What is it? The average? They say like the average steps is you want to walk a golf course. It's like 10 to 12,000 steps a day.
Yeah. That's why I put that metric out there of 10K because I guarantee most people are not getting 10,000 steps. That's where people have like all of these issues that stem from like the feet up.
Yeah.
And you see like everyone's like, oh, my body's just getting old. I'm like, no, dude, you live a super sedentary lifestyle as we're sitting down talking about this podcast.
Hey, at least we're in a gym.
Yeah, we're in the home family gym. But
yeah,
like I don't think it's necessarily getting old. I think people just let their jobs and they let their occupation and their like family dictate whether or not they can get in their steps. Like there's definitely ways to work around it. But dude, there is I can just feel it now. Like I've been at this job for 3 years now. Very blessed, very thankful. But man, sitting at that desk for those hours and hours and hours, it has affected my body. Like, dude, my wrists, I got like, I guess from just keyboard and the mouse, like it's not natural and my wrists feel terrible. Like right now, my left wrist is really like nervy and painful. I'm like, I feel like I'm like 70 years old in my left wrist.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Mine's on my right side.
Yep.
But I've definitely noticed that, like, sitting down, I'm, like, more aware and not, like, afraid, but I'm, like, very cognizant of, like, carpal tunnel and all that. And I'm like, having that and then lifting weights and doing CrossFit is just, like...
Like, I think lifting weights counteracts that, but only so much. Like, I think a big thing people, misconception-wise for health and fitness, is that, yes, the 1 hour is great. I think it is so beneficial. But it doesn't undo your 6, 7, 8 hours of not working. Like 1 hour in the gym doesn't undo 8 hours of sedentary desk work. Like you can't fight that.
No, not at all. And I think that's what we were talking about earlier. You get into those moods where you're like, okay, to kind of combat that, because you're never going to fully combat it until you're tired.
Never.
But to combat if you're like in office space and work, like get up, walk down the hall. It doesn't even have to be like a 10-minute walk. As long as you can get up,
get steps in,
get the blood flowing. Yeah, I mean, Wednesday, Thursday when I'm in the office, I think like when I wear my Apple Watch, I know Apple Watches are not 100% accurate with steps.
But still though, it's something to track. Like the best thing you can do is quantify your results and progress.
Yeah.
And if like your watch says 12,000 steps, it didn't just magically add 2K.
Yeah.
It might, but most likely, you got your 10K for the day. And like I think so many people get so caught up and they let their jobs, let their families dictate whether or not they can take care of their own personal health. And I'm a firm believer in health is wealth. Mm-hmm. Like you can make all the money you want. You can be this crazy, amazing person, but like in your job. But like if you die young and you're not there for your family, like and you can't enjoy the money you made, like why are you doing it?
I feel that.
And there's some people I think get caught up in that. And
but I think you're right because when we lived together throughout the past year.
Yeah. So full context, we did live together as roommates for a year last year.
Last year.
Last year.
So when we did live together, that you definitely kind of imprinted that on me. And I remember there were days where, oh my God, man, I'd be working like late.
Yeah.
And either you or your wife would text me and be like, you come to the gym today?
Yeah.
And I'd be like, I'm going to try, And then I'd get there like late-ish for me would be like 6 I'd get there.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, wow, like at least you got, at least I got to the gym, but like you imprinted that on me where it was like, wow, I'm letting the generic thing, a 9 to 5 job dictate that when I get off, like I can't enjoy my night because I'm already tired from working. And then you kind of imprinted that, it's like, hey man, just do what you can do. Like I remember there were times that if I couldn't make it to the gym, it was just strict mobility work in the living room or in the room. So I do like that lesson that you taught me. That was a very invaluable lesson to learn.
Look, I think the biggest thing, like I've been very habit centric and very habit focused in 2023, and so many people just let their habits dictate their everyday. So like now that you're conscious of it, though, I guarantee you, you're probably making small, minuscule changes here and there. Like eventually, too, like one day, I don't know how big of a jump or change you want to make, but whenever a big change happens or something with life, like you'll be more prepared for it, or whenever you want to make that decision, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't know what it's gonna be like, but whatever it is, you'll be way more prepared.
I mean, for a fitness jump, it would be at least getting into the gym 4 or 5 days a week.
Yeah, and all sorts of little stuff, man. Like there's always ways to combat that and make it happen. Sorry, I'm just making sure my legs aren't gonna fall off.
The funniest thing, I don't know if people see this when they watch this back on YouTube, is how you had your legs like this. While
No, I think we're actually with the camera angle. I think it's a straight crotch shot because you gotta think about where that camera is. It's like kind of like chest height but pointed down angle. So there's probably a very central focus right here. I look probably very long for not sitting up. So I'm gonna fix my posture as we talk about.
Kind of while I'm keeping my hands
not sitting onto it.
But and then the other thing. So the other thing, and I like watching your Instagram stories for this, and I'd like to understand the psyche from you. So not trying to like hijack your show here, but like
we can talk about whatever.
The
food. We have another like 40 minutes before we got anything.
The way you eat, how do you even though you meal prep, how do you consistently like hit that? Because I would love to know. Isn't there a time in your day where subconsciously your mind is like, dude, I'm not hungry, but I know I got to get these like calories, the carbs, the protein in?
So this is the biggest, I think, gripe people have. I don't know if that's the right word, but the biggest challenge people have, I think, when they want to get to the next level of health and fitness. Like the first level is just simply getting into it, becoming a consistent person that, goes to the gym. Step 2, cut out bad habits like smoking and drinking and doing more water intake, healthier foods. Like the diet's the second thing, I think. But people who want to get more competitive, they want to grow muscle tissue, like the diet is the key. If you eat well and you eat like you're supposed to, and you eat how you're supposed to, like for me, I'm just eating to maintain my weight and performance. Try to increase performance. I don't care about how aesthetic I look. Somebody who's trying to lose weight and drop 50 pounds, they got to eat completely differently. Somebody who's a bodybuilder, they got to eat completely differently. And their type of season depends too. Like off season, eat as much as you can, get really big, develop muscle tissue. When it comes to a show, maintenance calories and then a caloric deficit in order to cut. Like, so for me, trying to eat all of that food in a day. So right now I'm eating over 4,000 calories a day. When I'm in my peak training in the summer, it's closer to 5,000 just because there's more sessions, more time, more training. But it is the number one limiting factor in people for getting results, right? Like the way I look at it, so when I was younger, I didn't understand anything about it. And I'm not like a dietitian. I don't think this is like any advice. It's more or less like bro science. But like once you get to a certain level, yes, technically you can eat kind of what you want and maintain that same physique. But again, for performance, right, you have to be as dialed as you can. Like I don't drink. I don't put like, other than when I'm eating carbohydrates for performance, I'm not taking in any sugars throughout the day. It's all pretty much rice and fruits. Like I'm talking like, like sugar from like, a syrup or an icing or like, stuff you put in like your coffee. I really try to manage that, but dude, it is a lot.
It is.
Eating 4,500 calories a day, eating closer to 5,000 in the summers, you get tired of eating all that food. Like I'm eating probably in one lunch is the equivalent of somebody's like lunch and a half to 2 lunches. And I'm doing that twice. Like I weigh out 7.75 ounces of beef is what I did today. And then a cup and a quarter, a cup and a half of rice. I've had to cut back on vegetables for lunch, and I will, in the mornings, I'll drink like a beet, strawberry, banana, or like blueberry smoothie. Put in my Reds ingredients from First Form. Hashtag sponsored. Just kidding. And then I'll just eat less vegetables throughout the day because they take up space in my stomach. It's harder to eat them. Like,
interesting.
I gotta get rid of the onions.
Yeah.
Because, dude, I just don't have space in my stomach. And then another thing, too, I didn't think about is if you get stressed or something happens at work that throws you off schedule, now you're in a bigger time crunch to eat the same amount of food. Whereas, like, if I had a normal day, I'd eat lunch 1 at, like, 10 o'clock. 10:30, great. But if a meeting happens or like we got a bid due that day and we are pressed on time for like that 2 o'clock deadline, I might not be eating until 11. Or when I start eating at 10, I have no appetite because like I'm in like flight or fight mode, man.
Yeah.
Like, oh, here we go, gotta get everything ready to get, and like I don't want to eat it, but like you just pretty much have to just like shovel it in there. Again, don't want to have anybody develop any eating disorders, but more or less, it's not the most fun thing.
Yeah.
Right, like it really does become like a second job trying to eat that much food and put in that much food all the time. Like it's not one day. Like my food doesn't change on the weekends. I probably eat slightly less because I'm not as regimented and I'm at home, traveling, family dinners and that sort of thing. But throughout the week, it is legit like the same thing, 4,500 calories every day. Get home from the gym, eat dinner, and then eat dinner early enough so I can eat another small meal, whether it's a protein shake. Recently, I've been on a dried fruit kick because it's easy to eat and it's delicious because it's like all concentrated. No sugar's added, but like when you eat dried fruit, everything's like sucked down into like a bite-sized piece, and it's again very high calorie dense. You know, eating that, peanut butter. Sometimes I will like add that to like my oatmeal, but again, the oatmeal texture, because I eat it in the mornings most likely, I don't want to eat it twice, so then I'm like, you know, it's not as palatable that next morning. But dude, like eating is such a job. And I'm very blessed. I'm not trying to complain about it, I'm just being very transparent. Like I'm thankful to one, live in a country where we have this abundance of food and have the finances in order to buy all the food. Like the grocery bill is insane.
Dude, nowadays, it's
I'm like, dude, we had to cut back on fancy stuff. Like, there's no fancy meats that we eat. It's just like lean ground beef, not like the super amazing grass-fed stuff. Which there is a difference, but there comes like a cost where I'm like, dude, we gotta budget this thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, but yeah.
You talk about the dry fruits, and for the folks watching this, our one closet when we lived together, the entire top shelf was
all dried fruit.
Was it dried mangoes? It was dates. I want to say dried dates and
prunes at one point, but those weren't as good, so we didn't buy them again. But they were like they helped you poop.
They did.
Dried figs.
We did have dried figs.
Yeah, it was like it's not calamari. It's like calamarian figs.
Yeah.
And they're all from like Wesley Farms, like BJ's brand.
Oh yeah.
Fruit, right.
Wesley Farms water, people drink it. It's really good.
Dude,
not
the best purified 40 bottles you can buy. Wesley Farms.
And beans. Oh yeah, cans of beans everywhere.
We really didn't eat the beans. It was more or less the fruit. But yeah, we do have beans. That was more for like the apocalypse, in case anything went down.
That was geek.
We had like probably 3 dozen cans, probably about 40, 50 cans of beans maybe.
Yeah, and I was very hyped when we would open up a can of beans for like a meal for dinner or something. I was
chili.
Like, oh, dude, chili's bomb.
Chili was the best.
But I do gotta ask, so you bring up a good point with how eating becomes like a second job.
Dude, it is, bro. 100%.
So like for me, like, and this is where I'm like every person's different. For me, like I'm starting to like align that with how like I work. Like I will keep an eye on the clock at like different times of the day for when I have to eat.
Yeah.
But the hardest meal for me to eat and like wrap my mind around how to get the best amount of like protein and like gains from it is breakfast.
Okay.
And I say that because if you think about it, like being like the office space, there's not much stuff I can bring that morning if I don't already like prep it on Sunday, like eggs and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's where I find like if I can make up that gap per se, I feel like I'd be a little bit better than the long run of the day. So it's like, how would you go about like what things would you look for on like breakfast? Yeah,
so the best way I approach that, so as much as people say like breakfast is the most important meal of the day, it's important, but would you say it's the most important? I think that kind of throws some outliers. Well, not throw some outliers, but I think there's a lot of ambiguity, right? Like for someone like you, to be honest, you don't really have to eat breakfast. It's all about what you're eating in a total like cumulative 24-hour window.
Yeah.
So like say you don't eat breakfast, but you eat like an early lunch, an early dinner, and then you have another like small meal sometime around there. So like let's just say, what time do you typically, if you didn't eat breakfast, what time are you eating lunch?
Probably like 11:30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if there's a way where we could move that up to 10:30, 11, and then we push that window up, and then we take your dinner. When do you typically eat dinner?
Probably like 5:30ish.
Okay, so we can again somehow
Yeah.
bump that up to 4:30.
Mhm.
Now you have that 6 to 7 window,
To eat.
8 o'clock maybe, and not eat something super crazy heavy, but like just something to hold you over until you got to eat again at 11.
Yeah.
You know, if you're somebody that wants to eat something in the morning, keep it small, keep it light. You know, drinking your calories is the best way to get them in. Well, maybe not the best, but the easiest way.
Yeah.
Like a smoothie, add a scoop of protein powder, some ice or milk or what have you. Don't make it like super calorie dense, like a calorie bomb you would find at like Smoothie King. But you know, add some quality ingredients in there. It's pretty easy to just throw stuff in there and blend it up, and then you take it in a handheld when you're off at work, or you can make it at work. You can bring it there, have the luxury of having it there. But it's all about just, again, what you eat in a 24-hour window.
Mm-hmm.
That's why like fasting can work. Like other diets like keto, which again, time sensitive wise, or like RP, that stuff you can modify and change. Like it's very applicable to multiple ranges of people. So like if you want to eat breakfast, do it, dude. But like if not, I think you probably just need to bump up your eating window just a slight bit for your lunch and your dinner.
Yeah.
So you can get dinner too in. So that's what I'd say.
That's a good idea.
Any other questions? I think it's a good thing we can hit in to really provide some value to people.
So what's your thoughts on, I don't even know what the best word to describe it, but like, so me being, as Tyler would like to say, our buddy Tyler, weird because I can't process lactose properly.
Okay, well you have some dietary
I do
restrictions.
dietary restrictions. I found this thing called like Slate, which is like lactose-free like milk.
Yeah.
But it's got like protein in it, so I just like to call it protein milk.
Yeah.
But they also make like a protein coffee drink.
Yeah.
Which, you know me, I very much enjoy coffee.
Yeah, you're a big coffee guy.
What's your opinion on that to help supplement that throughout the day?
So look, it's not the most ideal. Again, not a dietitian, not like a sports scientist here, but it will fill in some gaps. There's probably still some other things that you will need dietary wise in order to maintain a said physique. So like for that, again, the best sources of protein is like real foods unprocessed. I don't know how processed. I'm not familiar with Slate. I've heard good things about like I've seen some advertisements and I heard people enjoy their products.
Yeah.
What would you say like from a taste perspective? Good, bad?
The dark chocolate one's really good.
Yeah.
It tastes very smooth. It's not doesn't taste like there's any like added flavor to it. The milk chocolate just tastes gross. And then their coffee tastes actually better than like normal coffee with like creamer in it.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah, I would just be wary because like all of these new brands, they're just coming out of the woodworks left and right. And I think a lot of people or companies are trying to sell you on the idea of what's like very nuanced and like the current thing that everyone's like focused in on.
Yeah.
And I would just be wary of that. Like I would really look into each company and be like, okay, what are they actually putting into the products? Because yeah, it might have protein in it, but if it's a crap quality protein, it's better than nothing.
yeah.
But a better source will yield better results, right? Like you gotta put the proper fuel into a vehicle to make it run, you know. And in your instance, I think again, having something is better than nothing.
Yeah.
So yeah, keep drinking it. If it's something that you like and it's enjoyable and it's how you get your nutrition in, by all means get that in. Because what we don't want is you to be underfed and then underperforming in the gym and not getting the proper results. Something I talk about with my wife actually quite frequently is finding ways to kind of like trick her into eating more, because she's like, I want to gain muscle, but then she eats like barely enough maintenance calories to move throughout the day. And so for you, I don't know what your goals are exactly. If you want to share them now, you're more than welcome to. But like, do you want to gain muscle? Do you want to like start competing in CrossFit? Do you want to do like horse racing? Do you want to become a professional pool player? Like, what's the game?
No, I mean definitely to gain muscle. I mean, my legs.
Like you want like a six pack? You want six pack
Oh,
abs?
God,
You want
no.
like
I just
quadzilla?
want to build the upper body. I don't think I have, and I mean this
like a liver king.
No, I just want to build my upper body a little bit. I, with all due respect,
Yeah.
I do not have the what is it? The
Genetic build.
The genetic build for six pack.
You might. You never know, bro. I wouldn't say never say never.
I don't think that I mean I think I could wrap my head around it. I don't think I'd be as very what's a good word? Focused on how, because they always say six packs are built in the kitchen and all that. And yeah, I don't think
Yeah,
that.
so you just want to put on more mass.
Yeah.
Like just pure muscle size. Like you're not necessarily worried about the cut, which honestly will be a byproduct of putting on more muscle mass. Again, it's like a bigger engine and the same size car. You need to probably eat more protein. So again, that slate milk that you're drinking, great. But you probably still need to be eating any other real wholesome meats like beef, chicken, fish, pork in order to get that in. Like how many times a day are you eating? Like actual meals, not snacking, and then we'll get into snacking in a second.
Actual meals is 3, so it's I usually will do something for breakfast. I'll just put it in like a container when I take it to work. Yeah. And then I'll definitely eat lunch at work, so it's usually whatever I don't eat for dinner, like I just carry leftovers over. I make sure there's enough portion. And then dinner. So
perfect. One thing I would look at if possible. So there's these very like $20. I don't know what they're exactly called, but you can buy a scale and make sure you're getting, like for your size, again, not a dietitian, this is bro science. Yeah. I eat per meal for lunch over 7 ounces of meat. You probably need 5 to 6. Because I'm eating 4 meals, so cumulatively, right, that's like, let's just round up to 8 ounces because I am doing like a protein shake or something that kind of like coats everything for like a nice clean 8 ounces. So 32 ounces of meat. Right? That's 4 meals. For you, your 3 meals, we're looking at probably 20 to 24 ounces of meat. So like you can get in 5, 6 ounces, I think that'll be helpful. Starting definitely on the low end 5. Yeah. When you start getting more intense with your training, bump up to 6. I think that'll be helpful results wise. Gotcha. And then again too, because you put on more muscle, you have to increase the amount of food you eat because you don't want to be losing said gains.
That's one thing I admire about you when we go to family functions and you have your little lunch, not lunchbox, but your cooler with you. Yeah, dude. And we're only one thing, you're like, nah, I got it. Like,
well, dude, that's what I'm telling you, bro. Like, the diet is so critical. Like, it's not, like, look, I know people, like, cringe at the idea of, like, I don't eat for taste, but seriously, though, like, when I look at, for, like, performance metrics, like, the open workout on Friday, I completed the workout, I finished it in 11:59. The time cap's 12 minutes. If my diet was not dialed in, I guarantee you that there have been some mishap, some mistake, and we don't finish the workout. Yeah. You can only see that they're looking back. So like for a diet, the same thing happens, right? Like you go to a family function, there's the desserts, there's the delicious food that's prepared, but there's a reason it's so delicious. It's because of all the crap that's put in it. Yeah. And so you have to kind of get over like that like societal thing of like, why isn't Mike eating this food? It's like, well, look, I'm really dedicated to my diet. I'm really dedicated to this. And like the crappy part that I've seen from so many people is that when you are trying to improve your health and improve yourself, there will be so many people that try to drag you down because they're not doing it themselves. Because they see you trying to improve yourself, they will kind of like give you the finger and be like, well, why aren't you eating the same food that I'm eating? Because they're not willing to put in the work. Yeah. So don't get discouraged, and anyone listening, that's just part of the process. People will not understand. Or they do understand, and again, they just simply don't want you to succeed. And a lot of times, unfortunately, it comes from your friends and your family. Yeah. So be prepared. Yeah. Because when that starts happening for you, man, whether it's you want to go to the gym and maybe you said no to the boys for some reason, hey, it's all good. Or, you know, you're eating and you deny wanting to, like, go get drinks or something, and you're just having water, hey, that's another dietary win. Not saying all the time, but there's balance, too. Like, you can go do that stuff. It's just, like, how serious are you about what you want? And as long as your actions match your goals, you'll be fine.
Yeah. And, I mean, when you talk about drinking, everyone seems to think in the family that I very much love beer a lot, which, but I think I was cognizant of that, too. Because, like, I see a lot of stuff where it's like, oh, like for instance, they always talk about like the carbs and stuff that they have in it. Yeah. So I'm always like focused on that where it's like I don't want to be drinking like empty carbs. So when I do go out, that is like in the back of my head if I have like a Michelob or like a Miller Lite. Yeah. So it's like I definitely took that into consideration because you and I when we lived together we did talk about that one night. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, you definitely have to take that into consideration. But I do want to back up because you're talking about how people look at you we'll look at like the person a certain way if you're not doing what they're doing. And I think that's one of the things that's been awesome about you with like our friend group is that like you're the biggest advocate for like if you want to change and do something, like don't really listen to the outside and always do it for you.
Yeah, 100%. Like you have to be selfish in some respect. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know you've helped out like me and Tyler a lot with how like what we want to eat and what we want to accomplish, and it's like it's nice to have that person in your corner that's like, hey man, like don't listen to the outside noise. Like you got you, just do what you got to do, and if you're happy with where you're at, then it really doesn't, really doesn't matter.
It's all based off of goals and your own expectations. Like,
yeah.
I think everyone should set a very high bar for themselves. Like, I'm never complacent. Like, yeah, this is great. I like how I look. I like how I perform. It's like, no, that could have been a little better. I definitely could have been shaped up. Like, I'm almost to the point where I'm obsessed, too, with, like, how I dry the Tupperware that my food goes into. It drives my wife nuts.
Mm-hmm.
But it has to be dried a certain way, so there's no like streak marks. The shaker cups, same way. You can't just like set them out to dry once they're in the washer or dishwasher and you pull them out. Like you gotta dry the insides, otherwise like that residue stays.
Film.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
Like that's just a weird thing, but like that's an expectation of mine because it improves the quality of the product, which is the shake that I will be drinking, even by that 1%.
Mm-hmm.
Because then the big thing is it carries over to everything else.
Yeah.
Can I prepare this beef better? Can I prepare the rice better? Like,
you put that on your story today, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
About like,
the
science of like your ground beef, because you were like you bought what was it 8
pounds of ground beef.
Yeah.
And you only yield 5.5 after draining off majority of the fat. I didn't drain off everything because I need a little bit of that calorie wise.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd say I poured out, and I even added butter into the 8 pounds of ground beef, and it still cooked off. Was that 2.5 pounds?
Yeah.
So it's a 30-some% yield less of what you were actually paying for.
That's insane to think about.
And that's why too, like eating is expensive, man.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's expensive as advertised because like you can buy crappy food that's pretty similar in price range. Now, meat, that is expensive.
Oh,
but like you can buy rice, you can find fruits that are the same cost as like your fruit snacks that you're trying to buy and stuff, right? Like, now, fruit snacks will last a lot longer. They taste a lot better, but the fruit's definitely better for you.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, that takes a long... That took me a while to wrap my head around. Was just like, dude, trying to get like the fruit in. Because it's like the way that you have to eat, the way you gotta eat fruit and all that. But, that was a really random thought.
It's all good, man.
No, you were talking about like and to kind of like go back, you were talking about like setting your bar, your like goals pretty high.
Yeah. I mean, look, here's the thing. I always like to revert when people are like, "How do you set goals?"
Mm-hmm.
If I always think about this, like if you're a parent and you're playing with your kid, right?
Yeah.
If you absolutely crush them in whatever game you're playing, they're gonna give up.
Mm-hmm.
But if you give them just a little carrot of like they can succeed, you back off a little bit, they will be engaged and they will push the boundaries the entire time. They can lose here and there, but as long as they're winning a little bit, that belief and that matchup of like what they believe is critical. So like that's how I look at goal setting, right? Like somebody who wants to squat like 400 pounds in the back squat. All right, what are you at? 315? All right, let's start with 335. Hit 335, and then you increment up to 355. It's the same thing goes with like eating.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say go cold turkey because you're probably just going to revert back to what you've been doing, which is eating like you don't care about your body.
Yeah.
I would say, okay, let's try this. Instead of going out on Saturday and getting the double cheeseburger, and French fries, how about you just get the cheeseburger? Right? I'm not saying cut it out completely, but let's take baby steps here. And then, you do that, and then you're like, all right, instead of having 5 beers, let's have 4 beers. Instead of 4, let's do 3. And like you incrementally take steps in the right direction. I think that's the best way to do it. Everyone wants the results like, bam, immediately, and that's not how it works. It's years and years and years and years of work. Like that's how, for me, a lot of people get burnt out in CrossFit.
Mm-hmm.
People who want to do it competitively, at least. Like I think I'll be doing some form of training like this until I die. Keep me healthy and fit and fully in control of my body as best I can. God willing, any cancer or other diseases. Mm-hmm. But I'm trying to mentally tell that to leave me alone for now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But back to what I was saying. So many people get burnt out because they think that they can put in like a year's worth of work and they'll be like a pro at it, or it'll just come like that. And then so many people leave the sport without even getting started. And like for me, I've been trying to do this competitively now. This is year 3, and I knew it was going to take 4 or 5, maybe 6 years. A lot of these guys are, in their 20s, and they're absolutely crushing. And I'm like, cool, that's their story. For me, I knew it's going to take a little longer, and I'm okay with that. And once you can kind of put that in the back of your mind, it's like, this is going to take a while. It's going to take some thought. It's going to take some work, and there's a lot of work to be put in. I think that's what everyone needs to, realize. You're not just going to wake up one day, and it's going to be this perfect spitting image of what you're going to be. It takes time. It takes discipline. It takes steps and steps and steps. I think that's where a lot of people get messed up. Again,
instant gratification.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the society we live in. But so many people, they just think that, again, 1 year's worth of work is enough. And I'm like, no, dude, this is something you constantly have to legit obsess over with health and fitness. It's legit setting you up for the rest of your life, especially as we get into a population that's more and more obese.
Yeah.
What is it, 70% of adults?
They said, yeah, it's
the total, and the average population, if you include kids, is 60-some%. We're 2/3 obese.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think they said by 2030 it's gonna jump above 35% of total population.
Dang, bro. Oh, the entire world.
Yeah.
Dang,
the entire world.
That's crazy. So I take that with a grain of salt though, because if you look at my BMI, I'm in the obese category.
I remember you told your wife and I that one day when you came home from
I went to the doctors, and the doctor goes, look, man, you're pretty fit, but according to your BMI, you were almost heavily or over obese, not morbidly, but in between obese and morbidly obese. I was almost tipping the scale. I was like, look, I'm 5'9", 69 inches tall, and 190 pounds. They don't take. I hate the BMI. The BMI is a terrible scale. So that's where maybe people aren't as obese. But I feel too, whenever you hear statistics, it's always worse. They try to make it less exaggerated.
Yeah.
So I feel that obesity statistic is a little bit more accurate, scarily, than we may have thought beforehand.
Yeah.
Because I found that a huge problem. America, we got to be stronger, bro. People got to be better off. It would make the healthcare system a lot easier.
It would.
If everyone was healthy and fit and moving. I would love to see everybody in the gym. I don't care what you do, how you train, but I would love to see everybody in the gym.
Do you remember when we had 2 years of high school together?
Yeah, because
you're kind of crossed there.
Yeah, because you graduated 14?
14.
Yeah, so 2 years, because I was 16. Yeah.
Do you remember when we would have gym class? We had to do the what was it? The fall, this winter, and then you did a spring, the fitness.
Yeah, they had the fitness. Yeah, they had the fitness test, which was the push-ups, the pacer, the sit-ups or crunches. I know in middle school is a really big deal. Yeah.
Did you do the BMI one in high school?
I think so.
So we did the BMI, and you just held that little device.
Yeah.
I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
You held the device. I don't even know what it did. But I feel at that point, we talk about BMI and obesity. I feel that, especially with how when you went to the doctor and they were well, your BMI, you're technically pushing it.
By their standards, I was obese and out of shape.
And if you tell a high schooler that, who doesn't really, I'm not gonna say they don't all understand it, but most don't understand it.
Okay, but the health education in high school is garbage.
Yeah,
I knew nothing, bro. I run the conditioning in the summer, and these kids don't know jack about anything. They don't know about nutrition. They have no idea that what's a protein, what's a carb, and what's a fat. That's part of the trivia that I do is we work through all those things because it's important to understand those basic concepts. You can't get advanced in nutrition and health and fitness if you just don't know the basics.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of bad information out there.
Yeah.
A lot of bad information. But yeah, I think that affects the psyche too.
It does.
If you were to tell somebody, hey, you're out of shape, and this chart says it, you're gonna believe that. And that's not necessarily true.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
I feel it just kind of sets the younger generation off on a very odd path.
Oh, dude, again, the population is only getting heavier.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not good.
That is true.
Not good. I like to see it heavier and denser in muscle.
Yeah.
Everyone's just getting fat. It's not good, bro. You look at the stores, people look like crap. And I think it's, again, societally, people just don't prioritize it. I have tried my best. And there's people, dude, we're starting to make changes at work, bro. People are getting in shape. People are drinking water. They're going for walks. Everyone is way more conscious about what they eat.
Did you plant the seeds?
Oh yeah, dude. Seeds have been planted and people are really starting to execute. I'm very excited to see how the next year goes because there's several people that are just starting.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to see what they can do in the next few months.
I remember you talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
I remember you talking about that when we lived together. You were like, yeah, like, you were very excited for some improvements you saw with certain people. And I was like, dude.
And now they're
look at
starting,
you.
so like, we're talking like just drinking a single glass of water.
Mhm.
And now people are drinking a gallon of water a day. People are actually getting up and going to the bathroom. They're having consistent poops.
I'm glad you just clarified that because I was about to go, wait, getting up and going to the bathroom, is that something people don't do?
Sometimes they're like, yeah, I've been going to the bathroom all day. And I'm like, bro, I peed like 6 times today. I pooped once, minimum. Sometimes twice. But like, that's like normal stuff. You are either not eating enough or you're not moving enough if you are not pooping once a day.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying like, look, freak out. You got colon cancer if you're not pooping every day.
Yeah.
But like, you should be pooping probably 5-6 times a week. Minimum. I poop like 8 to 12 probably.
Do you go at the same time every day?
Roughly.
Yeah, I'm
Roughly,
on that too.
it's in the morning because I drink my coffee and then it just shoots through me and I release everything from the day before. It's like a cleanse to start my day. And then sometimes I'll poop again before the gym because like again, you eat so much food. You have breakfast, 2 lunches, and a pre-gym snack.
Yeah.
Dude, you're so full of crap. You just gotta let it rip, and that's kind of how it rolls.
I'm glad. It's nice to hear that you're in the morning because for me it's like in the afternoon to evening time, like right before dinner.
Yeah, but see that makes sense then because you know you've had your 2 meals in take when I eat my last meal at like 8 or 9 o'clock, and then my first breakfast, right? That's a pretty hefty size meal, and then the coffee just helps get it out, and then everything else I kind of scale back the food a little bit leading into training, because I can't eat as heavy, but my dinners are super freaking heavy, and then the meal that I eat after dinner also heavy. So all of that is just like digesting while I sleep. So it makes sense though why you have your 2 meals and then you poop. Yeah. Because that's probably when you eat your heaviest in the day.
That is. Yeah. Dude, never in a million years would I have thought on a podcast we'd be talking about health peeps.
Well, dude, pooping is part of the process, man. And your body tells you. It gives you tons of information. Now, do you track anything health stats wise? Like steps, calories burned, sleep, any of that?
I'll track sleep because I'll wear like when my watch doesn't die in like 2 hours. I'll wear like my like the Apple Watch in it because it helps you track your sleep. Yeah. I'll do that. Then again, if it's not that, when I get to the gym, I always turn it into the CrossFit like workout thing. That way, it like tracks the calories and heart rate that you burn.
Yeah.
So I do that, and then right now I think that's the extent to which I track, so that I can keep track of and like keep on, consistently.
Yeah. So I've been a real big advocate for tracking as many health stats as you possibly can. Like I've been recently tracking sleep. I track my ounces of water at work. Do 100 ounces a day. I also do 100 push-ups a day. Yeah. At work. Regardless of what's happening, I get it done. And then I track. What's the other thing I track? Oh my goodness. Sunlight. Do I get 10 to 15 minutes a day? I track that. And I just take notes and see like how's the body feeling, how are you responding, like does that make sense? And it really gives you information. So my suggestion to you is pick one thing you could track or would want to track, and then track it for a little bit. See what that does for you.
I've been thinking about that. Now that you bring it up, I can say it. Because when I see like you do the water thing, I always think about that. I'm like, I definitely know for a fact I do not drink enough water.
Perfect. That's the best place to start. Do something you know you need to be doing better on, and then just like again set a small goal. Like if you know, if you track one day, just don't even have a plan. Just see what you're drinking. You're drinking 60 ounces. All right, let's get 70. You get 70 ounces, cool. Do that for a week. Yeah. Then bump it up to 80. Do that for another week. Now bump it to 90. And then, eventually you'll be at 100 ounces, and then you'll be closer to a gallon, which is probably about what every man should be drinking in a day, I think. But yeah, there's small stuff like that. Small items like that. Woo! All right. Any other topics? Anything you want to hit up on? No. Change up gears, anything? I know we've been doing mainly a health focus here, but it's kind of been a nice combo. I know probably about 10-15 minutes. So anything you want to hit?
10-15 minutes?
Yeah. Because we got to go see Graham.
That's right.
Her birthday.
Shout out Graham G and a French toast. Oh, we were talking about that earlier with
73, bro.
You said something about like eating sweets.
Graham
And I was about to go, dude, I cave every single time for her French toast.
Yeah, dude, because it's literally the best thing ever.
It is.
Like, we could market that. Graham's French toast.
And it's even better when, like, she gives it to you to take home and you should eat it the next day.
Dude,
Throw
it's
in the
like
microwave.
the flavor saver. It, like, marinates overnight. It's beautiful. Delicious. Delicious.
She showed me how to do it, and I just can't replicate it.
Syrup on top.
Are you allowed to say that? Aunt Jemima?
Yeah,
Is it still Aunt Jemima? I thought it was a log cabin now.
I don't know. No. That's 2 different brands, Mike. Aunt Jemima's the goat. Even though they took her off the damn syrup.
They did, yeah.
She's the goat.
You know, well, one thing I do want to ask you. So,
Yeah, what's up?
you don't, which I'm kind of glad because it did seem like it was a heavy burden on you. You don't do programming for that many people now.
Yeah.
Which, again, I'm glad because there's nights that you're up pretty late doing it.
Oh, yeah.
So, and I know you moved over to Proving Grounds, I would say?
Yeah.
So, what's that been like?
With that? So,
yeah, what's that like?
So, the owner, Phil, and we've been in contact for a little bit. So, I've been following their stuff for a couple years. And mainly right now, it's just popping in, doing a couple workouts here and there. To be honest, I haven't really been on top of it. Like, with the wrist and my back in the past month, bro, it is, like, not allowed me to train how I want. And I really have to modify a lot.
Yeah.
Like, they have a bunch of great stuff. I just physically, I cannot do it because it just hurts.
Yeah.
Like, my wrist, jacked up. My back, jacked up.
Mm-hmm.
6 weeks ago. And we're still, not 100%. So I haven't really been able to do what I want to do with them. It's kind of been on, pause and, pending. And then before that, I was doing a weightlifting comp. I'm like, hey, I'm focusing on getting strong. Once I'm done this, then I'll hop over and we'll start doing some stuff. But it's really kind of been, up in the air. But he's been super cool, really easy to work with. He's over in Germany right now. He's one of the directors of Adidas.
Wow.
Really cool dude. He's got some good stuff. So I gotta actually reach out to him probably today and just see how he's doing and then reconnect. But no, that's good. It's good. That's a good question. But
yeah,
they're cool. They do some really good stuff. Again, that's Proving Grounds.
A lot of their workouts because I followed them, I think a couple years ago when you were talking about it. You were like, hey, it's a really good thing to look at. You know, you can get a workout if you can't figure out one to do for the day. Just check them.
They have a bunch of stuff on their page.
They do have some really good ones.
Yeah,
and
really good stuff.
I like the names because a lot of it's pop culture too. Like during Christmas, it's all Christmas themed.
Well, I think that's what originally drew me to them. Is they have stuff that is legit and it fits the culture and narrative of what people are looking for. It's okay, we'll do this. Okay, we'll see this workout. Save that for later. Screenshot that. Send it to a buddy. Share it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Overall, very positive experience. With
and I like that they at the bottom after you scroll down, they're feed about what the comment or caption about what the workout is. Yeah. They show you the scaling. If you can't do it,
they give you the scale. They give you a breakdown lots of times. But Phil's running a tight ship there, and we're excited to see how they continue to grow. So they got 100. I think I checked it out yesterday. It's over 110,000 followers on Instagram right now. So they're killing.
It's a lot.
So yeah, I gotta rekindle with them. That's a good little reminder there.
Hey, I'm good for nuggets like that sometimes.
Ooh, I got a question. I think this is probably what kind of podcast do you listen to? What do you personal growth wise? I think that would be a good way to end this in our last 5 minutes before we sign off.
Let me whip out.
What do you mean? You don't just remember off the top of your head? What are you watching? For me, man, it's Joe Rogan.
I am.
Joe Rogan Experience.
See, and I don't want to, I'm not trying to get content. I listen to selective ones that he does, because there are some people where I look at, who the person is, I'm that won't give me any benefit to my life. I'll listen to him. If I want my sports, I usually listen to, Barstool. Yeah. I'm big on, interview stuff, like Joe Rogan, so, I'll listen to stuff from, retired sports people that, interview people that, not just about sports, but, where their life is and how they got to where they are. Yeah. You recommended a couple to me too. Huberman Lab, the My Lab. I listen to that.
Huberman Lab, he's a good one. Little dry.
Yeah.
Little dry, but very informative, very truthful. I like him a lot.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan, it's either it talks about all the issues in the correct perspective of people who are just having a conversation and not having a screaming match with one another. It's an adult combo, which I enjoy.
I appreciate
Or it is just pure entertainment.
Is
Russell
Parks?
Yes, dude. Protected Parks, freaking hilarious. Yes. Freaking hilarious. I like the Theo Vaughn This Past Weekend is what it's called, podcast. He's got some dude. He is he's got a nice mullet.
He does.
He's got some southern twang to him.
He does.
Dude, he just had on Logic the other day. I was listening to that.
It's a rapper from Maryland.
Yeah, dude. Great podcast. Great talk. Dude, he gets and he just twists words and his brain just operates like I've never seen a human. So you really got to think through what he's saying. He says those outlandish stuff, so it's highly entertaining. Another good one too is the Pat Bet David podcast, the PBD Valuetainment Crew. Excellent stuff. They are real, hardworking, balls to the wall dudes, like real businessmen. So that's a good one too. Andy Frisella, Real AF, with First Form. Bam! Again, Real AF, so he keeps it super real. He talks about common issues, he talks about business and growth, personal mindset. I've gotten a lot of good stuff from him over the past couple years. And then from a health and fitness one, Mind Pump.
Yep, I listened to that.
Mind Pump. Dude, they break it down way better than I ever could. They're 20 plus years in the industry, maybe 30 plus years. But those guys are fantastic. Mind Pump. They're great. It's like Sal DiStefano and his crew.
I listen to, I mean, it's not like health and fitness, but to like think about different perspectives of like science, because I'm a big science nerd sometimes. Like, I listen to like sometimes Lex Friedman, but then he's got so technical for me. I was like,
bro, that's like
my brain can't handle.
Bro, it's like he is speaking to us, and I'm like, I hear words, but bro, you gotta like tone it down because he is just it's getting cut and dry.
Yeah,
but he's very real.
He is. He's
very legit. He's consistent with what he believes and how he interacts with his people. He asks really great questions. Great interviewer. It's just sometimes a little cut and dry. But he does have good guests.
Yeah.
Great guests.
And like anytime I do listen to him and I want to actually listen to what he says, I it's so weird to say. Like I have to listen to like the ones he does with Joe Rogan. Yeah. Because that's what Joe Rogan does. He'll talk to him and be like, it'd just be like nonchalant, be like, you gotta like tone it down. And then he'll like explain it a little bit more when like questions are asked.
Yeah, but that's the power of the interviewer too, is being able to probe items out of people so it's more digestible.
Yeah.
Like, that's one of the things too, like eventually one day I would like to have my own studio. Like we're in the greatest home gym of all time.
Yeah, we are.
For the family. But eventually I would like to have some type of studio set up where we could do this like officially and have official guests. But for the time being. You got anything else for me, brother?
I don't.
Other than that,
everything's good.
Yeah, man. Well, good. Well, thank you for being on the podcast.
Dude, it was fun.
Appreciate it.
We gotta do this again.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for watching. As always, peace. Much love.